Welcome to day 2 of the Maths Mum. Hopefully you're fine, you're not too hungover this morning. Those of you out there may have noticed I'm in the same clothes. I haven't slept in the same clothes for 3 or 4 days. I have pre-recorded these videos. Just so you know, I'm keeping up with my personal hygiene. Right, today we're talking about place value. I say place value and most of our generation will go, huh? We do know it. It's just not something that we associate with the words place value. We're talking about this type of thing. So looking at numbers and knowing that their position gives them a value. So for instance, a 2-digit number, we know that the first digit in that is representing tens. So we start off in reception looking at tens and, ironically, it's the other side, tens and ones, not units. We knew them as units, and they do migrate to units later on. But obviously, as a child, a 4-year-old child, a 5-year-old child, talking about a unit doesn't really make much sense, but talking about a 1 does. Okay, I always like to use the expression whenever my child started school, the only unit he would have known would have been a kitchen unit. Yeah, so that's why they use ones. So they use tens and ones, and then as you go up through the years in primary school, the numbers just keep getting bigger. We add hundreds, then we add thousands, then we start looking at the decimal place, and then we add tenths and hundreds, and then we look at tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions. And by the end of primary school, that is what they deal with. Okay, so in the workbook today, I have given you a full explanation of what I've just said. So don't panic, you don't need to take notes. I try and support you with the work, everything there. So it should be self-contained. Okay, just to let you know that actually it's the early years foundation stage curriculum is what covers reception. Place value isn't on that curriculum, but most primary schools, most infant schools will introduce the idea of tens and ones in reception. Because once you get past the number 10 and you start looking at putting numbers together, they will talk about place value. So what I've done today is the first 2 sheets are reception stroke year 1 and year 1 stroke year 2, because there's no clear definition exactly of where your child's going to be at and how much they will be able to do. Don't panic if they're in reception and they can't do the first sheet. That is not, that's not anything to be worried about. However, some year 1 children will be able to do the year 2, because once you get the concept, it's pretty straightforward to keep going. Hopefully that makes sense. So we're back to our panel of numbers. We've got 15 numbers, and what we're doing for reception year 1 is we're going to be using the place value mat. Now you have this in matted. I knew that was going to happen. You have this in the matted. You don't need it laminated, just a paper copy will be fine. And we're going to be using our deans. So either use the paper ones cut out, or indeed whatever you want to substitute. Just explain to your child, use this video and say, these are what you use at school. We're going to use breadsticks and raisins. If it's lunchtime, go do it. Or, we've got pipe cleaners and buttons. Doesn't really matter, but whatever you use, that is what we're going to be using. And you're going to be modelling your numbers on that. And I've given you a demonstration of what I mean. Okay, so the same thing applies for year 1 to 2, except this time you can see the numbers start at 2-digit and then go up to 3-digit. So you're going to have to start on your 1s and 10s and then move to your 1s and 10s and hundreds mat. Okay, so you model, and that time it will be with your blocks. Get some Lego out or a block, but blocks, sticks and dots. Okay, so again, I've put an explanation and example on the workbook for you. Okay, when you get into year 2, at this point in time, you've understood the concept of place value, but now we can play with it, which is more along what the kind of understanding of place value. So in our year 2, you get 3, you can see 3 digits. And the idea here is to rearrange those digits to make the smallest and the biggest, or the biggest and the biggest, but the smallest and biggest numbers. Choose what you want to do. You might want to do both. You might want to set on one, you might want to come back to it another day and do the other one. Okay, but the idea is you rearrange it. So what do I mean by that? The example I've given you here is if I give you a 5, an 8 and a 3, we need to rearrange those to create the biggest number possible. Now, to make the biggest number possible, you put the biggest digit digit in the biggest place value. We have a 3-digit number, which means I put my biggest number, my biggest digit, 8, in the hundreds position. I put my next biggest digit, 5, in my tens position, and I put my smallest digit in my ones position to create the biggest number, 853, 853. To make the smallest, I do the reverse. So now that I've done the biggest, the reverse is straightforward. It's 358. Okay, 358. Hopefully that makes sense to you. I just brought my dice out. These are something that you can get on the interweb. I've got loads of them. I sell dice on my website. I've still got a stock of them. But these are 0 to 9-digit dice, okay? You can't buy them individually, but you can buy them in packs, I think, of 10. But the idea behind that is you can create a game, roll them out, what 4 digits or 3 digits did you get, and you can actually have a competition. Who can create the biggest number in 3 goes, yeah? Again, another fun way, gets you away from the electronic pad. Quite tactile, if you like games, it's quite good. Okay, so year 3 is exactly the same concept, but this time, year 3, I've been given 4 digits. So obviously the number is bigger, the number of combinations you get a little bit harder, but it's slightly tougher. Okay, moving on to year 4. At this stage, we should understand completely our place value, our numbers getting bigger, and we've also introduced the decimal point. Okay, so we now know what tenths and hundreds are. So for year 4, what we have is we have 3 rows of numbers. In the first row, we need to identify what the 7 is, the digit 7. So what I mean by that, and I've done an example on here, let me just rub out. Okay, my example here is the number 5,648.9. Okay, so what I've said here is what is the value of the digit 6. Okay, so we know place value is ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Yeah, tenths. So we look at the number 6 and we go 6 is 600. So that is what I'm expecting the child to answer. This should not be new to them. They should understand this. Okay, if I was asked you for the what the digit 9 is, yeah, the digit 9 would be 0.9, 9 tenths. Okay, it's the same concept for years 5 and year 6. The numbers are bigger, a little bit more complex, but it's about identifying again what a digit means in a number. Okay, you can see when we get to year 6, the numbers are quite big and they go to 3 decimal places in some cases. Obviously 3 decimal places, you've got tenths, hundreds and thousands. Okay, so right, so the 2 there is 0.002, which is 2 thousandths. Again, having difficulty with my teeth. Right, and never fear, there is an answer sheet. Okay, that is day 2 in a nutshell. And that's covered 2 sections on numbers, but they are the building blocks to everything else. We will be next touching upon our favourite subject, addition, which is actually one of the biggest changes in how our children learn addition next, so be prepared for that. Do contact me if you have any problems. I'm available on Messenger, email, Instagram. You know how to get me. Okay, good luck, keep going. Love, math.